From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop CBB PrimeTime Capper, and Happy New Year to you. Our first show of the year, and pretty much I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And you know it's Monday, so you know who we have with us? None other than the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. Good morning, Jeff. How's everything going? Well, actually, good afternoon on your side.
Happy New Year. Things are going great here on Cape Cod. We're just getting ready for a nice little snowstorm, a couple inches here. Nothing major, maybe a big one coming over the weekend. Wrapping up an amazing weekend, 3-0 Saturday, and a nice plus 414 parlay on Sunday. So as you would say, feeling good, feeling great. It's Monday. It's a new day, new week, new beginning, and let's rock and roll.
All right. So, weekends, and hopefully everybody had themselves a great weekend this weekend, betting wise and all that good stuff. So, pretty much we have ourselves in position to finish up pretty strong this year with a lot of things that we've done. I know I'm doing much better than I did to start the year off. So I do appreciate that part right there. You know what I mean? So, all things aside, I'm very happy. I'm ready. I'm head first into this year. I'm a tourist, so that means it's a bull. So I'm really ready to just wreck some China shops right now, Jeff, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and jump into our NFL playoff picture. And pretty much we have ourselves the AFC and the Bengals, your Bengals, the kittens, as I like to call them, the young pups. They went ahead and got themselves into something big. They clinched their playoff spot yesterday, and they also won the very tough AFC North that we thought everything was going to be, the dust was going to settle final week. It actually settled this week. Titans have moved into the number one seed temporarily. The Colts lose, but still can clinch a playoff spot. They are in control of their own destiny, but if they do lose, they will not be making the playoffs. And then you have the Chargers and Raiders playing for pretty much, I would say, the final playoff spot. The winner gets in, the loser goes home. But I think that there is some type of tiebreaker in place if the Colts lose, and one of these teams lose. I think that the Raiders would be able to get in, correct? Because the Raiders do have the tiebreaker when it comes down to the conference overall record. The Raiders are 7-4 against the AFC. A lot of people aren't talking about how well they did against the conference this year. So, Jeff, your quick thoughts on the AFC moving forward.
Well, what's striking is the KC loss. I mean, the thoughts of a well-oiled machine hosting. And don't forget, there's only one bye in each conference. So the fact that Kansas City were rested, had an extra week, and you would have had to go through Arrowhead to get to the championship now is not in their hands. And what it has done is there's been talks the whole time that if the Titans deep, that Henry might be able to get back. So you give the Titans, the number one seed, a bye week, an extra week off, maybe for Henry to get rested, and maybe they do host a lesser opponent in the first round, their second round of the playoffs. Maybe you get the King lathered up and he's ready if they do win to host in the championship game. So hats off to Joe and Chase and T and Boyd and Mixon for pulling off the upset against the Chiefs. He did get his knee tweaked at the end, so that's something to keep an eye on. Correct Raiders, Chargers winning in there. Chargers opened up 2.5-point favorites, now 3 at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. So all in all, Pats are in. It's just a matter of, it looks like they might have to travel to Buffalo again for round 3. But overall, the AFC, with that Chiefs loss, I think it opens up more for Buffalo now, with the potential of them with the Titans, Kansas City loss, of them hosting. But we still got one more week to go, Pops.
All right, sounds good to me, brother. And we talk about the NFC. The NFC has kind of been a little bit more clear cut for us most of the year, because the NFC is very simple. You have 5 teams, you have 6 teams that have winning records. Everybody else has a losing record. Let's just be simple. Well, 7 teams with a winning record, and then everybody else has a losing record, Jeff. And you got 2 teams that are even, but then after that, it's 7 wins or below. Okay. And the NFC it's just been getting beat up on all year long. You know what I mean? You look down, you have 3 teams with 5 wins, you got 2 teams with 4 wins, and then a team with 2 wins, and I think you got a team with 3 wins. So it just goes to show you it's not the conference is a little off this year, but they're very top heavy. Their top teams are very good. The Packers lock up the first seed in a bye. Now they've pretty much became the perennial Super Bowl favorite from what I'm keep hearing and keep seeing. And then you have the Cards winning after pretty much being thrown to the dogs and everybody just pretty much being over it with them. They are still on path to win the NFC West because they are in control of the tiebreaker, but they would need a Rams loss as well too. Now the Rams can win the NFC West with the win over the 49ers or drop to the 5th seed in the playoffs as well too. This will be the toughest game of the year for the Rams. I don't care what anybody has to say. The 49ers have their number, and they're going to have to be in on this one because the 49ers have not clinched yet. And if they lose and the Saints win, they're out. So this game is Mando for them. So pretty much I do like what I see here going into this game. 49ers will clinch a playoff spot with win or Saints loss. So if the Saints lose, nobody has to worry about anything. So you know that, but I don't know how that game's going to go down, but I know Shanahan wants to win this game, and the Eagles will clinch the 6th seed with a win and a 49ers loss as well too. So that's when I say that everything's very clear cut, dry when it comes to the NFC, and I think that we already know exactly what the Final Four of this division is going to be. I would say this right now: it's going to be the Rams, the 49ers, the Packers, and the Cowboys. We'll just go ahead and have that right there. And I know Jeff's thinking but don't the Cowboys play one of them? I would say that the Cowboys are going to line it up with the Cardinals, okay? I think that we saw the early version of that playoff game, and I think that they're going to really kick Kyler's butt after what he said after the press conference about the Cowboys as well, too. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents on the NFC. Now, your quick thoughts on that?
The NFC, as we know, on the NFL stands for any given Sunday, and there's a lot of teams with a lot of hope and a lot of teams that can be knocked off in any second. I got to go back 3 years now, or two years. Rodgers in San Fran, NFC title, they get smoked. Last year, number 1 seed, Rodgers, home against Brady and the Bucks. 3 opportunities to tie the game in the 4th quarter and lose. Unfortunately, when the dust settles, I hate to even say this, it will be Packers by default. I don't care who it is. It's just their year. This reminds me of the early years with John Elway getting to the Super Bowl, then spending a decade outside the Super Bowl, and then making his late run. I think this happens again. And, listen, no one wants to cover Devontae Adams. They have no other wide receivers. They have a tight end. They're more in love with Dylan now than Aaron Jones. Defense is playing better. You got a taste of it yesterday with a Viking team that didn't even want to play. Unfortunately, my preseason pick of the Niners, they got a tough spot in LA. Like you said, they do own them right now. But unfortunately, and this is going to be my final statement on this, is Coach didn't want Jimmy G. That's why they drafted Trey Lance. Why don't they want Jimmy G? Because when you need him most, the guy is always hurt. Period. End of discussion. As much as I love this 49er team, I'm sorry, Trey is just not ready. If they make the playoffs and he's put into a tough spot, I don't see it happening. So as much as I'm sticking with my preseason, all of those tickets that I got, I don't see it happening. But I'm calling out the Packers by default.
Okay, and you know what? I'm going to stick to where I'm at. How them boys? I'm telling you, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones likes the Beverly Hilton. He likes the Beverly Wilshire. He hasn't been there in a while for a Super Bowl week. He wants to be the one that he wants to be one bragging about that. I won my first one in Southern California. I'm gonna win my second one, and I'm gonna win my fourth one out here. Blah 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 blah. I'm Jerry Jones. All right, so we move on, and let's go ahead and talk about college football. And Jeff literally pounded the table, almost broke the table, and was like, "Pop, let's just stop playing ourselves and keep it real. It's going to be Georgia Bama part 2. We knew this after before the SEC game. 2 weeks before the SEC game, Jeff was pounding the table saying that you don't have to worry about anybody beating these two. And Jeff was right on the money about it. Michigan looked absolutely out of sorts, out of wits. He looked like he did not belong in that type of game. And Cincinnati, you tried. You showed at least you got off the bus. You know what I mean? And you didn't get totally wiped out. That was one thing they just missed golden opportunities. They didn't. When you look at it, I just don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I thought Ritter would have been a guy that could have went outer body, had a bigger game, but Ritter is just at the end of the day will be a really good backup quarterback that can get you a few wins out of the season if he goes to the right situation in the NFL. I wouldn't say that guy's a starter at all. He might be had to even switch positions. You know what I mean? Because it just did not look good yesterday. And I feel like if you can ball against Alabama, you belong in the NFL. And he didn't ball. So it is what it is at the end of the day. But I'm just gonna be honest. We can be really quick here. I know everybody's saying Bama this, Bama that, but I remember the last time we came in here and like Bama's so unbeatable. It was when Trevor Lawrence was a freshman. And Trevor Lawrence went in there and absolutely took our money. And everybody should remember that very, very well. So I'm not putting it past Georgia to get their big revenge in this spot. But once again, it goes back to the reference of who's your daddy. And that's going to be, pretty much Alabama is your daddy. So at this point right now, I'm not choosing a winner. But I will say that I feel this game will be an under game. Just like the LSU-Alabama game from about a decade ago that was a national championship game.
In August at the Breakfast Bankroll, and I was in Vegas with Dave Sharapan. We were sitting right at the South Point, and we were talking a week before the Georgia-Clemson game, where Clemson was 3.5 4-point favorites in the opener, and Georgia went from 8-1 national champs to 6-1 before that kickoff. And we talked the reasons why, yada, yada, yada. You could see all along this was a generational defense. With the only thing that might slow them down was the quarterback play. Stetson played out of his mind against Michigan. Do I expect the same performance? No. But I stated the first time that these two played in the SEC championship, it was a team of desperation in Bama versus a Georgia team that was already in. So I'm not saying Georgia didn't want to win. Yes, you have an opportunity to get them out of the Final Four, you do, but you're not opening up the playbook. And you could tell right away it was Bama's day, okay? The 23.5 point total was Bama's team total. They put up 40. That's not going to happen. I mean, Georgia hadn't given up 17 or more to anyone all season, okay? Vegas opened up the line at 1.5. It went to 2, now 3. Bama wasn't favored, okay? Revenge, Georgia, you're right. Who's your daddy? So the key to success here is simple. Georgia's got to get out early, win the toss, defer, stop Bama, put some points on the board, stop Bama again, put some more points on the board, go to halftime with the lead, and then just take care of business, okay? You let Bama hang around here. You let Bryce Young get going, okay? They're not going to run the ball for 198 yards either. So I like Georgia in this spot. If anyone listening right now wants to play this game early, take the 2.5, 3 out of play. Take Georgia minus the 135-40 money line and just go dogs, go dogs, go dogs.
All right. So there it is. There it is. All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on and let's jump into what me and Jeff really love the most. And, nothing against football. Football is great. and it's king for TV and advertisements and all that stuff. But me and Jeff both are kids of the playground. And the game that we get to play on the playground is hoops. And that's what we're going to talk about. And what do we all dream of when we're little kids playing hoop? We got to always think about what college we're going to play for, right, Jeff? You got to go through college before you get to the NBA. So conference play is starting. Things are looking pretty good right now as well, too. UCLA's program is on pause. Baylor is dealing with probably the toughest start to conference schedule for one of these top 5 teams as well. Then you have Duke, surprisingly, the only ACC team ranked right now. That befuddles me that they're the only one ranked at this moment. North Carolina is going through the motions this season. They're not even North Carolina anymore without Roy Williams being there or without Dean Smith. Now they're kind of in a new situation. They're in a new world of somewhat. They haven't looked like this since the first year of Coach Doherty, who Michael Jordan's former teammate. So things are a little different now. And then also USC is undefeated and number 7 in the nation. We got 3 top 10 Pac-12 schools as well. But the one thing though that I do understand about the Pac-12, it's going to be one of the more surprising conferences when it comes down to big games and big upsets and things of that nature. But the one conference that really just sticks out to me on having really good competition and making them tournament tough is your conference, the Big East. So that's my 2 cents on what I see going with conference play right now. Everything's still a little new. We got 2 games in the Big Ten tonight, and we got 2 games in the Pac-12. Very not normal of the Pac-12 either to play a Monday night conference game, but with the way that COVID is running rampant, they have to do it. It is what it is at the end of the day. So I like what I see. I like the slow and steadiness of the way college basketball has been working. We haven't had so many upsets this year. You know what I mean? The top 5 has pretty much stayed intact. So I think that's pretty good moving into the new year, and it should be a very profitable month for college basketball bettors as well, too.
You talked about Baylor undefeated, if I'm correct, on that 12-0, and they've had a couple tough games scheduled, and they've just walked right through these teams, the defending national champs that just haven't skipped a beat. You talked about the Pac-12 UCLA. I've gotten to see them a few times this year. Great start by USC. The Ducks have been inconsistent. You look at an Arizona team who we had Tennessee against them and caught them. I think Tennessee started that game like 12-0 or something stupid like that. But an Arizona-Washington game that Arizona's favored by 24.5. I mean, it's just some of these numbers are just off the chart. The old school Wisconsin-Purdue, 12.5. So there is some disparity in these games. The Big East, I'm going to be honest with you. Nova was the preseason team, not to just win the Big East, but to get to the Final Four. They brought back everyone. They've struggled. They've been real inconsistent, but they start the Big East, of course, undefeated. My squad, UConn, in a pods itself, got stunned. 9-point favorites against Providence at home and lose, but they bounced back with a big win on the road. And now the East is where it's at, in my opinion. You got a Villanova team, you got a Providence team, you got a UConn team, a Seton Hall team 0-2. Okay, but they're missing 2 of their better players who they're going to get healthy. So when the dust settles and you and I are sitting courtside in March for the Big East semis and the finals and maybe the quarters, I'm looking at a couple of these teams to go long in this tournament, and the Big East itself is the best conference to get you ready for tournament play and long runs.
Right, and I totally feel that. The only eyesore this year in the Big East is one of my favorite teams in college basketball, period. Georgetown. Georgetown is I would say this, Georgetown starting slow. and they'll pick it up the pace. You see a lot of good things with this team, especially when you looked at the Syracuse game. I just think that they have to get to know each other a little bit better, and that's just been the problem with Patrick Ewing led Georgetown teams. It's too much high turn in, high turnout. You know what I mean? It's like being at a McDonald's. You know what I mean? You know you're not going to be working here for your whole life. You might not even be working here for the next 15 minutes. So I think that you got to stop changing around the roster so much. You have to – there's going to have to be a year where you got these really good guys sticking around. You know what I mean? You got James Okinjo destroying it over at Baylor right now. But I understand what happened in that situation. Him, Mac McClung, all these guys, they forgot that Georgetown was a student-first institution, not a athlete-first institution. You know what I mean? So that's understandable. So we all know that Patrick Ewing's still keeping his job because he's their biggest alumni, and he is able to bring in big-name players year in and year out. And that's exactly what Georgetown was begging for when they brought in Patrick Ewing. So they're the only eyesore I could say at this point in the Big East, and that's it. And then when I look at conferences that are not playing up to major status right now, it just shocks me that I know I already mentioned it, but the ACC being as bad as they are this year is just weird to me. But I think with Roy Williams leaving the conference and Coach Krzyzewski on his way out, the aura of those good old days of the old ACC are starting to fade away. And this is what happens when you overcrowd the division, the conference. The Big East ran into the same exact scenario. And Jeff, you remember this when they went to 16, 17 teams, the gameplay went down a bit. You know what I mean? And it's just too many damn teams. And so I think that at the end of the day, the ACC may need to reassess how they want to approach things in the future for their conference and start maybe figuring out a way to send some teams back over to the Big East. So then they can get some, all I'm doing is trying to help out Duke and North Carolina, because when Duke and North Carolina aren't the top teams in ACC, it's not a great conference. It's just not. You know what I mean?
And as you remember 5 minutes ago when I didn't talk about the ACC, it's Coach K's last year, so you kind of sort of expect a big year from Duke. You kind of expect a long run in the tournament. I mean, it's his last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a lot of ACC basketball this year, and listen, a couple years ago we talked a lot about Virginia. I'm watching Virginia lose by 20, 30. I saw Virginia 15-point favorites lose on the road to, I forget what name of the school was. That's how bad they were. My point is, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a changing of the guard, okay? But I just think with the dynamics of college hoops, the dynamics of college athletes, the G League in the NBA, it has changed. So as a number one recruit, it used to be, okay, am I going to Duke? Am I going to Kansas? There was only a handful. Now everyone can offer the bag, Pops. Everyone can say, hey, why don't you come over here? I know you want to play for the Cameron Crazies. I can give you a little more. We know you're only staying for a year or two. And by the way, speaking of that, we haven't talked about Kentucky and Coach Cal. His thought process of, hey, I'm going to get as many one and dones as I can. And I know with my coaching, I can get them to come together like you talked about with Georgetown. That hasn't worked either. So you know what? The Gonzagas of the world, okay? They're an elite program now, but they're not a Duke, Kansas brand that we think of. They're still going to get on ESPN. They're still going to play in the big, small tournaments before the season, in the middle of the season. They'll travel anywhere. Mark Few has done an amazing year. But the point is, you can now go to some of these other schools and shine and get paid more. And it's just disappointing for us old school guys when the ACC reigns supreme. They'll be back. Don't get me wrong. They'll be back. Wake Forest, I've watched them. I've watched some Georgia Tech. Florida State, athletic as always. There's talent in the ACC. I just think it's spread out more, Pops.
Yeah, and I know there is, man. I just know that the ACC the last 5 years has been a conference that has been able to have 7, 8 teams ranked at a time, and I just feel like they're kind of missing the conference a little bit. But I think that there's just better conferences out there this year as well too. The Big 12 is very good overall. The Big East is very good overall. And also, I got to throw the SEC in there as well too. Even though the SEC is kind of the Big 12 of college basketball, because just like the Big 12, they have their signature team, which is the Kentucky Wildcats. You know what I mean? And so I look at it like this. I say to myself that we still have a lot of time left in the year. That we ain't done nothing yet, and I think that as we move more and more forward towards the tournament, rankings don't even really matter, right, Jeff?
No, not at all. And it's funny because you're going to get some teams that have a great regular season that get out early in their conference championship. So instead of being a 2 or a 3 seed, they might fall down to the 4 line, and vice versa. Some teams that had a bad regular season that are getting healthy at the right time, that go on to the finals of their conference or win that to get an automatic bid, that get in that 8-9 seed. So the cream will rise to the top. There'll be a couple Cinderellas, and I just can't wait.
I look forward to it as well. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into some Laker talk, and then we'll talk some NBA, and then we'll go ahead and talk some tickets. So you guys stay right where you're at. We will be right back with the Primetime Angles Live. I'm your host, Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper, and I'm with the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson, and we'll be right back to you. The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The Primetime Angles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
All right, we are back with our with the Primetime Angles Live, and let's go ahead and jump into the state of the Lakers. And I'm not going to be too long with this because it's the start of the year and everything like that. I would say this with the Lakers though, they are. I'm not going to say that they're getting it together, but the last 2 games were good. Let's just be honest here. The last 2 games they did well. Big blowout win over a struggling Blazers team, and then another nice 5-point win over up-and-coming Wolves team that's pretty inconsistent. They're a type of team that will win 5 in a row, then lose 5 in a row. But all in all, they've given the Lakers fits all season. They were one of the younger teams that the Lakers have just had issues with, and the Lakers were finally able to beat them last night in their 3rd matchup with them. So that was real good for the Lakers because the Lakers got blown out twice by the They got blown out twice by the Wolves. So that's something that you have to put into fruition. Now, when I look into my notes, the Lakers 19-19, that's pretty good because at one point they did fall. It did kind of fall apart. They were 17-19, and we all got a little worried here. Like, is this thing going to fall all the way apart? Now, the Lakers did win 2 games in a row after dropping 5 in a row. Last night was their first game of a 4-game homestand, and they beat the Wolves 108-103, like I said prior. LeBron had 26, 7, and 5 in 35 minutes. Westbrook and Monk combined for 42 points last night. LeBron has scored 30 or better in his last 6 out of 7 games as well. Westbrook had 4 triple-doubles in a row. That streak was broken last night, and AD is still about a month away. And I'm going to tell you like this. Collison is an upgrade over Rondo, and Johnson's defensive presence is a breath of fresh air, Jeff. And also, Melo's presence on the bench is starting to become contagious, meaning that people are actually starting to see what Melo's doing and try to duplicate what Melo's doing, and that's score some damn points. That's my notes on the state of the Lakers. The Lakers' next game will be against the Sacramento Kings tomorrow night at the newly minted crypto.com arena. But for all of us real LA folks, it's still always the Staples Center. Just so you know, because in Boston, they're not gonna call the Garden TD Garden. It's gonna be the Garden.
I got to tell you something funny, Pops. I was trying to decompress. I had finished my work for the morning. I was up late last night. I'm following the Laker game on the phone. I knew they were 7-point favorites. They played grab ass. They were 4.5-point favorites, I think, in the first half. It lands on 3 or 4, so they didn't cover. The second half, for the full game, they were 7. They were up 6 with 23 seconds left. Or 40 seconds left, and LeBron at the line, and they were 23 for 24 from the free throw line, going up to and LeBron bricks both of them. All right, and then my point to this is meanwhile Westbrook made 1 out of the 2, so they were perfect leading up to the last minute, and then so the game's on 5 right now. And there's a turnover by the Wolves with 14 seconds left. So Lakers are going to inbound and then get fouled, and it's going to land on 7. Lakers commit a 5-second violation. Wolves come down, miss it, lands on 5. So the Sunday night special for anyone listening here is generally the Lakers at around 9:30. That's your real last game or a game out west. And it's just kind of comical. Great win. I'm not taking anything away with it. But anyone that had money on the Lakers last night really must be pulling their hair out the way that actually finished.
Right. And you know what? I was actually going through the stats this morning on against the spread and everything like that. And I've said this on more than one occasion. The Lakers are absolutely awful against the spread when it comes to Western Conference teams this year. They are 7-17-1. So, that's one thing that you put into fruition. And they've been awful at home as well, too, when it comes to covering the spread. Not winning games, but covering the spread. You know what I mean? So that's why everybody has their biggest issue with the Lakers, because if you're a bettor, they've lost you a lot of money this year. And if you're a fan, you just don't understand why they are keeping it so close with so many bad teams. But the thing is, though, when you're as old as the Lakers are, these games are going to happen. It does not matter. Even when you had your Celtic group intact with the big 3, everybody had to understand the big 3 were in their almost early to late to mid 30s when they got together in Boston. And so there would be nights where how the hell did who was really bad at that time? How the hell did the Sixers come in here and beat y'all tonight? Well, because you know what? Everybody's a little old here. And so we didn't take the game as serious as we should have. They got a lot of young puppies over there. Hey, it's okay. We lost by 3 or 4 points. But the thing about Boston was they committed themselves to defense as well, too. And they had young puppies in the group that were ready to go out there and do their job, not spectate and hot five the superstars when they come to the sideline. And that's where the Lakers young players are going to have to start stepping it up. Stop being a watcher and start being a doer.
You know, it's funny. We can talk till we're blue in the face about today's NBA. You talked about the big three, uh, uh, back in the day where it was the truth, it was KG, and it was Ray, and it took them a little growing pains. But what they had is they had KG as the heartbeat, meaning if you didn't come to play, he was going to make sure you knew you didn't come to play, and he was going to call you out. So by the end of the 20th or the 25th minute, you kind of caught some slack from him and you kind of picked up the pace. And you want to go back to the real big three back in the Celtics heyday. There was a year where they went 39-1 at home. Their only loss was a Friday to Portland. The Celtics used to play grab ass for 3 quarters. There was games that they didn't show up, okay? Then it was just like a light switch. And they just knew, all right, we'll play ball now for 12 minutes. And they would just beat you by 20 in the fourth quarter. And that's my point about all of this. You got a team of stars. Well, you have a foundation of stars with LeBron, with AD. You got a Melo and you got a Westbrook. Your supporting cast doesn't know what to do right now. Okay. So you need some kind of leadership. And you know what? And I'm going to ask you this question. And all of LeBron's accolades, on his accolades, whether it was with Cleveland twice, whether it was Miami or now the Lakers, how many times has he grabbed the team by the throat and said, hey, guys, wake the bleep up. Let's go. And he does it on his own. Okay. He does it on his own, putting up the triple-double, scoring, rebounding. Okay. He's only one guy. He's in his 19th season, if I'm correct. Okay. My point is, you need someone else to step up. We all thought it was AD. We all knew Westbrook was the wrong signing there. Okay. Someone like Melo, if you're going to go far this year, is probably the key to your success.
All right. I like it. I like it a lot. Melo to me is Melo and LeBron have to be Bird and Magic on the dream team at this point. And I know this is not a dream team situation because they don't have those same type of teammates with them, but the leadership has to happen like that. You know what I mean? Because that's why that team was so good, because Bird and Magic were such great leaders that everybody looked up to. And that's the same situation not LaMelo, but Carmelo and LeBron are in. Damn it, LeVar, why did you have to name your kid that? Dude, seriously. Seriously. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the NBA, though. NBA looking real good tonight. Our first game is a divisional matchup between the Wizards and the Hornets. The Hornets are going to be the home team tonight. The Wizards are the home team tonight, and the Hornets are on the road. And pretty much from what I can see here, I have my notes in place for this game as well. So what I have in my notes today is this. We have a Hornets team that's 22-15 against the spread. Also, we have they've went over in 20 out of their 37 games this year. When it comes to road games, they're 10-13 straight up, 12-10-1 against the spread. And then when it comes to the over and under, they've went under in 12 out of those 23 road games. Now, versus the division this year, they are 5-2, and they are the 7th seed as we speak in the East playoff race. Now, the Wizards come in here 17-19 against the spread. They've went over in 18 out of their 36 games this year. And then when it comes down to being at home, they're 9-6 straight up, and they're 10-5 against the spread. Now, when it comes down to the over under, they are pretty much even with a push. And then against the division, they're 3-5, and they're the 8th seed in the East playoff race. When I look at this game, I feel like this is going to be a run and shoot type of game, Jeff. So I like the over in this spot. What are your thoughts on this game?
Pops, I'm looking at the numbers, 75% of the bets, 65% of the money rolling in right now on Charlotte. A number that Washington opened up at 1 across the whole Vegas. We call this a line freeze right now, and actually a little reverse line movement on Washington. So slight lean to Washington here. The total, 69% of the bets on the over, 90% of the money on the over. Opened at 228, it skyrocketed to 232.5. So the public consensus says take the over and run here as well. But I would have a slight lean here with Washington Pups.
I like your thinking. Washington, Charlotte did win the first two matchups between these two teams as well this year. Both games were split. First game being in Charlotte, second game was in Washington. So they did win both of those games as well too. So the Hornets do have the two game advantage in their court. So if they were to win tonight, they would get the season series as well too. They're going to play one more game, but they will win the season series. This is good for tiebreaker situations as well too. That's why I'm mentioning it. So let's go ahead and move on to our next game, and that's going to be another really fun matchup that we have here tonight. And this is going to be between everybody's favorite the it team for the year, and that's going to be none other than the Brooklyn Nets, and now the upstart very good Grizzlies team. Grizzlies coming in here 23-14, the Nets coming in here 23-11. So these teams are some of the better teams in the NBA right now. So you have the Grizzlies team that's 22-15 against the spread this year, and also they've went over under is even with a push in their 37 games. And then against the East, they played 9 games and they've wound up going 4-5 against the spread and straight up. And they've have won their last 3 in a row straight up and outright. And then when it comes down to the over under, they've went over in 5 out of 9 games versus the Eastern Conference this year as well. They are the 4th seed in the West playoff race as we speak. Nets coming in here, not that good against the spread this year, Jeff. They're 14-9-1. Then they've went under in 18 out of those 34 games that they've been a part of. And then against the West, they played 10 times. They've actually are 4-6 against the spread, 6-4 straight up, and they've went the over-under is split. They are not right now the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs, and they are out by 1 game to the Chicago Bulls. So when I look at this game tonight, this is going to wind up being my dog of the day because Kyrie's on his way back, but Kyrie can't play home games yet. And I thought the way they kind of slacked a bit against the Clippers and lost that game against a team that's not as good as the Grizzlies, I think John Morant goes into Barclays tonight and he puts on an absolute show. I love the plus 200 tonight, and the Grizzlies will be our dog of the day. And yesterday, our dog of the day cashed out as well, too, with the Sacramento Kings on Talking Tickets. So we're 1-1 on the year when it comes to the dogs, Jeff.
Game Brooklyn opened up -7, now -6.5. 63% of the bets, 74% of the money, all coming in on the Grizz. And over under that opened up at 226.5 is now 228.5. 81% of the bets on the over, 94% of the money on the over as well. The total has gone correct, moved 2 points in the right direction, and also Memphis going down a half point has moved in the right direction. And if you're at Caesars right now and you liked Brooklyn, you can get them at a flat 6. So public is all in on Memphis in the over, Pups.
All right. So this is good. This is very good. We'll go ahead and we'll see what we can do from here. So there it is with that. And we move forward to our next game. And this is going to be another fun game. This is going to be between the Bulls and the Magic. The Magic are dreadful this year, Jeff, to be honest with you. They're not really that good of a team. But we do understand the reason why, because the thing is they have a very young team. And I don't think that, and you know what, when it comes down to who's coaching them as well, too, the coaches might not be one of the better coaches in the league right now, but he's somebody who's trying. You know what I mean? Like he's putting in the effort, but at the end of the day, this team is going through the woes. Okay, and it's just that simple. And I say this because I have the notes to back it up. But one thing that you do like about the Magic coming into the season, they do know how to cover a spread. Now they did play the Bulls back on the 26th of November. They wound up losing that game 88-123 in Orlando. Now they're 16-21 against the spread. They went over in 19 out of their 37 games this year. Now straight up versus the East, they're 4-22, but against the spread, they are actually 11-15, Jeff. And then when it comes down to the over and under, they are even in that category as well too. I'm sorry, no. When it comes down to their road, the way that they play on the road, They are 5-17 straight up on the road, 13-9 against the spread. That means that they make you some money when they're on the road as well too. And then they're even when it comes to the over and under on the road. Now the Bulls coming here 21-13 against the spread, split when it comes to the over and under, 15-7 straight up versus the East, 13-9 against the spread, and they are 12-4 straight up at home, 11-5 against the spread, and once again they are even in their 16 games at home when it comes down to the over and under. They are the first seed in the playoffs. But tonight, what I see here is that I'm gonna ride the trend. I'm going to ride the wave. I know that the Magic are always a team that a lot of people feel like this is their square, this is their cherry spot, this is the game that they can jump into and they can get themselves a cover. But the way that it's shaping up, when you see a team that's 13-9 against the spread on the road, that means that these double-digit spreads are really in their favor. So I'm taking the plus 14 tonight with the Magic.
Orlando and Chicago, rotation number 509, 510, 810 tip-off. Excuse me, sir.
All right. I don't own the right to that music, so don't try to shut my video down. Sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
A line that opened at 13, now 14, 56% of the bets, 70% of the money, all coming in on the Bulls. A line that moved from 13 to 14, so public all in on the Bulls. They're not taking notes of exactly what you just talked about. The under-over opened at 221.5, now has dropped 3 points to 218.5. 65% of the bets, 92% of the money is on the under. So the public has spoken. They like the Bulls and the under. I lean Orlando here. I would take the 14 as well, Pops.
All right, because they're giving us a 14-point lead to start the game. Let's go. And the Heat, and they looked good last night too, as well. And covering in that spot that they did, they kept that game very competitive last night as well. And I think they take that same emotion into this game because it seems like they keep catching these back-to-backs, Jeff, and they keep figuring out a way to keep covering them as well too. You know what I mean? I see some teams are really bad because the way the NBA schedules them. You know what I mean? If you're one of the better teams, they give you more of a luxury schedule. If you're one of the bad teams, then they really make you work for it. Like literally every week you're playing against some of the best teams in the NBA, the way that they got things lined up. So, you know, Orlando, just keep fighting the good fight, and you guys will be all right. I know that you guys are trying to build something there, and you guys do have the talent to do so as well too. I just want to give everybody a heads up that Orlando is isn't just that bad. You know what I mean? That it's going to take time, but you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. And I really wish that they would sometimes. I really don't like the lottery because I think that it really sets back a lot of teams that need these really high-end players as well too, Jeff. And I really felt like Orlando should have been one of a team that had a top 3 pick because Evan Mobley, to me, it's great that he's doing what he did with the Cavs, but his fit was in Orlando, in my opinion. But his fit is anywhere because he's a damn good player.
Well, I think if we make a quick phone call, we get Penny, Shaq, and we'll add Cycli over there. I think Orlando will be okay tonight.
All right, so we'll see what we can do. All right, so we move forward. We have the Nuggets and the Mavericks. The Nuggets and the Mavericks having their third meeting of the season. They are split in their series as well too. The first game, the Nuggets won at home, 106-75 on October 29th. Then they came back around 16 days later and played in Dallas. Dallas wound up winning that game by 10 points. So both these games were double-digit wins for both teams. All right, so when you look at this game going into it, you have a Nuggets team that's 15-19 against the spread. They went over in 18 out of their 34 games. Now they played 20 games against the West. They're 11-9 straight up, and they're 8-12 against the spread. Now on the road, they've had 20 games. They're 10-10 straight up. They're 9-11 against the spread, and they went over in 12 out of those 20 games as well too. The Mavs come in here 17-19 against the spread. They went under in 22 out of their 34 games this year. And also when it comes down to the spread and straight up versus the West, they're 15-10. And when it comes down to their home games this year, they're 8-8 straight up as well, but 6-10 against the spread. And then also when it comes down to home games, they're 4. They've went under in 11 out of those. They've went under in majority of those games as well too. Actually, I'm sorry, 11 out of those 16 games. Sorry about that, Jeff. But when I look at this game, I like to look at the over. I know that I know that Dallas doesn't really go over a lot at home, and they've struggled at home. If you look at their record over the last 6 weeks or so at home, they're not doing that well at home. You know what I mean? At one point they had lost 5 in a row. So when I look at this game, I say to myself, the Nuggets are scoring so many points on the road or giving up a lot of points on the road. That 212 is absolutely obtainable tonight. I'm taking the over in the spot. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
This is my dog of the day here. I'm seeing a lot of tickets, a lot of money pouring in on the Mavs, yet the line has gone from 3 to 2. You're under over here. Let me see if I can help you out here. A number that opened at 213, now 213 and a half. It's 213 at WinBet. 212 and a half right now at Heritage. I like the spot here on Denver. I'd sprinkle in a little pizza and beer money on them. I think you can grab them at around plus 120 or 125 as well. I like Denver to come in here and take care of business and be up 2-1 in the series here, Pops.
I like it. I like it. I really, really like it. Come on it. Come get it. I'm telling you, that's it. That, you know what? I almost made him the dog of the day, but I got a little greedy. I wanted to have a bigger dog of the day. I instead of having a Chihuahua today, I wanted to have a Rottweiler today. Well, it's not really a Rottweiler, but I would say more of a golden retriever. You know what I mean? So, I'm more in the golden retriever lane today. So with my dog talk. So it is what it is, and that's where we go. We move forward, and let's go ahead and jump into the Warriors and the Heat. This game will be played tonight over in San Francisco at the beautiful Chase Center. The Warriors 28-7, the Heat 23-14. Right now, the Heat, and also when it comes down to playoffs as well, too, the Nuggets are in and the Mavs aren't at this point, Jeff. The Nuggets, I think, are the 5th or 6th seed, and the Mavs are on the outside looking in, but they will be a part of a play-in if we started the playoffs today. Now, the Heat coming to the game today, 20-17 against the spread. They've went over in 22 out of their 37 games this year. Now, straight up versus the West, they're 7-7 against the spread. They're 8-6. And when it comes down to the spread, the straight up on the road, they're 11-10 in their 21 games. And then they went over in 13 out of 21 of those games. Now, the Warriors come into the game 22-11-2 against the spread. And when it comes down to the over and under, they've went under in 22 out of their 35 games this year. And then when it comes down to playing the Eastern Conference, they're 12-3 straight up and 10-4-1 against the spread. And then when it comes down to home games, they played 19 of them, Jeff. They're 16-3, 13-5-1 against the spread, and they went under in 12 out of those 19 games. So the Warriors, different bag with the Warriors this year, Jeff. They're not the same Warriors that go out there and beat and score 140, give up 110, and it's a 250 over under every night for these guys. They're actually locking it down, and they're getting blowouts to the point to where it's like, okay, they win the game 120-99 or 115 to 87 and things of that nature. They're playing tremendous defense at home. They're playing very good team basketball overall in general. And this new look Warriors team is, to me, much more dangerous than even the KD assisted teams that they have, because they have a great mix of young and old, and Clay is on the way in the next week or so. So I love the Warriors in this spot tonight. I know that the Heat are a very good team. The record speaks for itself. They just lost to the Kings, so this could be a spot where they get a little angry and try to really play up to the Warriors, but I doubt it. I think the Warriors win this game by 15 or better tonight. They absolutely clean the Heat's clock, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but I'm going with the Warriors on a bold bet tonight with the -11.
I talked about this on my show earlier this week. On Christmas Day, Vegas gave you Golden State plus 200 on the money line. At Phoenix, they go box to wire. And then this past week, they give you on Saturday, actually, they give you the Warriors plus 180, 85 at Utah. They go box to wire there. It's a team that in preseason, as you know, and as we stated on the Breakfast Bankroll, was our pick to win the West. I think we had them at around 12-1, 11-1, somewhere like that. And Clay's not even back yet. It's scary. And tonight, 54% of the bets, 55% of the money, all coming in on Golden State, a number that opened at 9 that is currently at 11. And you talked about their unders. 71% of the bets, 88% of the money, all coming in on the under. A total that opened at 219 and is now currently 217. So right now it looks like public on Golden State minus the 11 and under 217. Coming back home after a road trip, usually the first game back, some teams are a little soft, or should we say weak-legged. If you're looking outside looking in, the 11 points does catch my attention. Which Heat team will show up? A motivated Heat team wanting to play the best, or a team that says, shit, we got to play Golden State and let's just not get embarrassed. So tough game to call, Pops.
Right, because you got Jimmy Butler back in the house. So that's something that we have to factor in as well, too. So this isn't going to be a walk in the park for the Warriors, but the Warriors just show up to work when it's time to play at home. They're not messing around with teams anymore. If they know that they can beat you, they're going to beat you. You know what I mean? That's the difference between them and the Lakers, is that they're going out and they are finishing the job. The Lakers will get up 25 and start looking to the crowd, start dancing, start doing backflips, and then next thing you know, the Lakers are only up 2 with a minute left to go in the game. You know what I mean? So there's a difference in how we approach things. You don't see the Warriors celebrating every single three-pointer. You know what I mean? They go back down and they go back down and play some defense. You know what I mean? But that's what happens when you got a guy like Draymond Green who is very serious about his game. And then when you got a goofball like Dwight Howard, you know what I mean, who only shows up when he's been motivated by the internet. So it's big differences in the world of basketball nowadays. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Let's go ahead, jump into, I love this segment. I love it a lot because it's pretty much put me where I'm at. And that's Talkin Tickets, man. I've been doing this for the last 7 years, but you know what? We put in the show form and all that good stuff. So, let's go ahead and get into Talkin Tickets for today. And with Talkin Tickets, I do have 3 different groups, and we start off with college basketball first. And we have the usual PrimeTime PK6. It's different today because it's Monday, and we don't have our big teams playing today. We got more of our smaller schools, more of our mid-majors going, and only a few of the power schools going. So I love Townsend in the early spot at the 6 your time, 3 my time game. Then we got Bethune-Cookman in the HBCU game with the plus 2.5, and then we also have UTRV, which is UTRGV, which is the Texas Rio Grande Valley. That's everything that's by El Paso, San Antonio. It's very close to Mexico. All that stuff where that school is at. So we got them at plus 8. And then Jeff mentioned Washington earlier. I know Arizona's good, but Washington and Arizona have had some time off, like a lot of time off. So I think that they're both going to be a little sluggish coming into the game. So I do feel like Washington can cover here. They're not going to get blown absolutely off the floor tonight, in my opinion. And then you have Southern in another HBCU game. And I think that they should be good money at home tonight. So we'll see how it goes with them and see how it shakes out. And then come on, it's Iowa, Jeff. Iowa, when you enter the barn, you already know what time it is. If you don't come with your game face on, they are going to absolutely annihilate you. And Maryland's just not that good this season. So you give me Iowa with the -9, I'll take it all day and even twice on Sunday.
Yeah, good roundup of games there. I did talk about Washington earlier. That number did look intriguing. And you're right. The Maryland team, you just don't know which one shows up. They either lose by 25 tonight or they win outright. So I like where your head is. The Townsend game is our kryptonite. We take Townsend, we lose. We go against them, and we lose again. So they're our kryptonite, a Drexel team that just – it has not been on the map for a while now. So I like where your head is here. Best of luck.
All right, so we'll see how it goes, see how it checks out. Now, let's jump into the NBA Super High Five. I'll be quick here because I already pretty much told you guys when we got done with the previews. I love the over 232 in Washington tonight. In DC. And then we also have the Grizzlies, dog of the day, plus 200. And then we have the Magic at plus 14. And then we also have the over 212 with the Nuggets and the Mavs. And then we also have the Warriors with the minus 11 as well, too. So this will be a 39-1 ticket, the NBA Super High Five. Hopefully, we go ahead and get that bad boy home because that's a nice way to start the week, in my opinion. So, Jeff, let's go ahead and jump into the Monday Night Football game. Yes, I know I didn't preview the Monday Night Football game, but me and Jeff have a show that comes on Thursday, and we did the full preview of the game on Thursday. Now, this game really doesn't have much meaning to it towards a playoff situation, but it really does. You don't want to get you don't want to just already just throw yourself out. But I think the Browns have pretty much been eliminated, and the Steelers have pretty much been eliminated in all essence of the words. But this is the oldest rivalry in the AFC. Okay, these two hate each other. These are arch rivals. Pittsburgh, over the last since the Browns came back into the league, they've been the owners of this rivalry. We both know this, Jeff. And I'm just going to be honest here. A lot of people who feel really good about Cleveland, let me give you a buyer beware notice about Cleveland tonight. They've only won 3 times in Pittsburgh since 1999. And I can't even name how many times they won before they moved. So I'm thinking maybe in the last 30 years, they probably won 4 times in Pittsburgh. And I'm counting a playoff game as well, too. So just understand that this is a place that is very tough for Cleveland to win at. But that did not stop me from taking them with the +3 today because this is going to be a very good game because these teams are very even on paper and they are pretty much identical to each other, in my opinion, Jeff. Quick thoughts on where you're going in this game before I break down everything on my bets list.
It's a tough call because the game is flipped again. It was a Cleveland all week and as the favorite. Now the fact that Cleveland is out, it's Pittsburgh and Ben Swan song. His last game at Heinz Field, his last game. I don't know even if he'll play next week. It's a tough spot. I think the public, the whole world is now on the Swan song. They're buying the sizzle, not the steak. And as we speak, Pops, Colorado, Oregon postponed because of COVID in the Oregon program. So keep an eye on that. 67% of the bets, 75% of the money, all in on Pittsburgh. It went from now -1 to 2.5. It's up to 3 at DraftKings and at WinBet. A total that opened at 41 is now 43.5. 63% of the bets on the over, but 59% of the money coming in on the under. So there is some reverse line movement on the over there. So shop around there, Pops.
All right, so there it is. Jeff is giving you guys the updates and everything that we need to know what's going on the strip right now. But we have +3 on the Browns. I also love the first half with the Browns today with the +120. I know a lot of people probably don't see that coming, but I think the Browns have themselves a short lead in the first half as well today too. And I feel like we get over the 7.5. I think we get a field goal and a touchdown here in the first quarter. And then I love the Browns to score 21 points or better today because I think that with the way the offense played last week, and I know that Nick Chubb is trying to get his incentives, that big money on that nice contract that he has. I know that he probably has a couple more bonuses that he wants to hit, so he'll be all in for that as well too. That's what we have to factor in today, and we didn't bring it up on the show today, but from what I'm hearing, that was a part of the blow up yesterday in New York about people's money. So, hey, some people act cool about missing money, and some people act the way that AB acted about missing money. So we'll know more and more as the smoke clears in that situation. I don't want to speak on anything until all the facts have been put on the table. So all in all, those are our Monday Night Football bets, and that is Talking Tickets for us today. All right. So with that, final words, Mr. Dawson.
It's a new year, new week, new beginning. Everyone, always invest and wager responsibly. You have 365 days to get into the green and profit. So we try here to keep you in your lanes. Pops put together some great tickets where, hey, as Pops likes to say, have a hunch, bet a bunch. Well, in those talking tickets here, $10 and $20 can make you a nice score where pay the rent or the mortgage for the month. So again, always take a look at the board, find out as much information as you can, and always bet with your head, not your heart.
Right. And you guys make sure you keep tuning in daily to Primetime Angles Live, and you guys keep tuning into the Breakfast Bankroll, and you guys will be sharper than sharp. And you know what? We're here for you, okay? And we're glad that you're here for us, okay? So with that, this is the Primetime Angles Live with your host, Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson, as I always like to say. Jeff has already beat me to it, but I'll say it again. If you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head and not with your heart. And the movement is moving, and we are gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a